I'm just a fake silhouette, avoiding every threat. I wanna stay like a silhouette, but I can't do that. No, I can't do that.
Hey Internet friends, as we continue to cover all the strange events that 2020 throws our way. We're halfway through the year and we've already revisited some major themes, money being one of them. Who's made a ton of cold hard cash during this time, how they've allocated their funds, and what role the Federal Reserve has played during the lockdown. But one aspect we haven't covered is how 2020 has affected the finances and purchasing power of the average individual. So today I want to talk about a recent coin shortage that we've seen popping up across the states. How media outlets have moved to debunk rumors of a cashless future. And most importantly, I want to answer the question, who benefits the most from a cashless society? And spoiler alert, it isn't me or you. At the beginning of the lockdown, there wasn't enough toilet paper to go around, and now apparently there's a coin shortage. And no, it's not because your dad started a swear jar. Have you seen these signs at your local grocer or gas station? For months, the media has been encouraging consumers and retailers not to deal in cash due to the contaminated nature of dollar bills and coins. That $5 bill you just used to pay for your one allocated bag of rice could have been stuffed between a stripper's coconuts for all you know. So how dare you risk the transmission by paying for goods and services in cash in the midst of a pandemic? A few weeks ago, signs instructing customers to either pay in exact change or by credit or debit card began popping up, blaming a national coin shortage for this inconvenience. Even Kroger grocery stores announced they would no longer be giving coins back as change to customers. And this news left a lot of folks wondering, what in tarnation? A pandemic, riots, protests, and then a coin shortage? What's going on here? Well, don't you dare say it was all by design, because the media has moved quickly to debunk this rumor, specifically the rumor that the government is priming us for a cashless society. This is how the media has explained the coin shortage. Basically, the US Mint has slowed production of coins because of the virus. With people avoiding vending machines, laundromats, and car washes, less coins are in circulation. Typically, businesses deposit that money to banks. Banks make shipments to the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve redistributes that money based on need. At least that's how we're told it works. In return, a vast array of businesses rely on banks to supply them with the change they need for customers. In fact, for the last few months, money velocity, or the rate at which cash is moving through the US economy, is at a historic low. Now, as recently as this week, bankers, retailers, and even the US Mint are asking people around the nation to empty their coin jars to help restore the supply of spare change in the economy. The situation is getting a little hairy because banks have not been able to keep a minimum supply of cash on hand for customers. So let's say you wanted to go withdraw a large sum of cash for reasons that are absolutely no one else's business besides your own. Right now, would banks have enough money on hand to pay out what they owe you? How long would it take that money to come in? And what if an event took place that drove a lot of people to go withdraw a large sum of money at once? I was reflecting on how the pandemic has affected almost every aspect of normal life, and I was noticing the media's insistence that the cash and coin shortages were not orchestrated during this time to bring about a cashless society. And that's fine, let's say the media is absolutely telling the truth for once. Can we still entertain the question, what if the shortages really were orchestrated? What would that mean? What does it mean to live in a cashless society? We can define a cashless society by describing a society in which purchases of goods or services are made by credit card or electronic funds transfers rather than with cash. You see, back in the olden days, goods were exchanged through a barter system. Then the concept of physical currency was established, one in which we could put into action for buying services, selling goods, and meeting our immediate wants and needs. For a while there, currency was backed in actual tangible assets. But now the US dollar is backed in absolutely nothing except its reputation and our confidence to exchange it for goods and services. Our monetary system is ran by the Federal Reserve Central Bank, which is not even a federal institution, nor do its members have any loyalty to the United States. Big banks that toe the line of the Federal Reserve have been pushing for a cashless society for a while, stating that going cashless is more convenient, making for faster transactions. easier currency exchanges while traveling, lower crime rates, as well as the elimination of money laundering and tax evasion because there's always a paper trail. It's beneficial for banks too because everyone would be forced to use a bank. Meanwhile, they would be able to eliminate actual human beings working for banks, as well as costs from handling and storing large amounts of cash. Of course, credit card companies would also love a cashless society because they benefit from every transaction. But I see something different when I picture a cashless future. I see a fully traceable system that exclusively benefits governments and banking systems worldwide. Things as innocuous and simple as paying some teenager to cut the grass or leaving a tip at a restaurant or giving a few bucks to a friend is a traceable and taxable transaction. In a cashless future, banking institutions and government have full control over the flow of your funds. Because guess what? You have nothing tangible to hold. In the event of pandemic or economic crash, it's within the realm of possibility that the institutions that rule over your funds could easily lock or freeze them. Because, again, you have no control. Let's take it a step further and say you have dissident opinions that the government catches wind of, or you refuse something like a vaccination, or you didn't pay enough taxes. How long till your assets are frozen in the click of a button? Boop, delete that, you're poor. Just like now, if the bank has control of your cash, the bank has control of you. For the last decade, cash usage has been on the decline, but the pandemic accelerated things a bit. And well, let's be fair here, that's not the only thing the pandemic has accelerated. Relations with China seem pretty tense now too, and China might just be ahead of the game in the cashless dystopia of our future. Right now, China is experimenting with their own currency in an effort towards technological superiority with central banking digital currency. With China moving forward with digital currency, this has put renewed pressure on the United States in the race towards the Great Financial Reset. On July 22, 2020, a former chair of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission introduced the digital dollar to the U.S. Senate Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs, arguing that it could future-proof the greenback and put it in league with similar offerings from China. Whether the coin shortage is an orchestrated event or organic happening, there's no doubt it's getting taken advantage of to push towards a cashless society. And who does a cashless society benefit? It benefits banks, credit card companies, big tech, and government. I know I harp on billionaires and the Federal Reserve a lot on this channel, but when it comes down to the average individual, I am by no means anti-money. Like I told you before, I'm just a realist. I see the game in front of me and it's Babylon debt slavery. A system that seeks to enslave anyone and everyone through usury, wage slavery, and monetary control. The endless hamster wheel. What's the way out of the system? You have to rid yourself of any and all debt and secure tangible and hard assets. So how do you do that? Well, you either need to be born rich or have parents with enough foresight to teach you the reality of this world so you never end up on the hamster wheel. But most people are on the hamster wheel, and getting off of it requires paying off their debt so they can finally rest, enjoy their friends, family, and God's green earth. The average person needs money to do this. But I think we can certainly say with confidence at this point that the dollar is imploding. It's not meant to recover under our current monetary system. Sure, maybe it will stagnate for a while and the implosion will be slow, but right now, we're witnessing gold and crypto surge as the pandemic drags on with no end in sight, and US-China tensions heat up. So it'll be interesting to see how the Great Financial Reset plays out. What do you think, internet friends? You know I always look forward to reading your comments. Thank you so much for watching, subscribing, and supporting my channel on Patreon. Bye!